Okay, so once you've gone through your whole setup process in adding the description and changing your homepage and verifying your email, you're ready to launch your site. So go back to the checklist here in your WordPress dashboard and choose Launch Site. And once you're done with that, it's going to ask you what domain you want to use. And they're really trying to sell these subdomains and these domains to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to choose this bottom one that says this is your current free site address. We're going to skip the purchase and we're going to continue with the free site. Okay, so now that my site is published, you'll see that it's been launched. We can now share it with the world, austinfunkymusic.wordpress.com. It's got my title, it's got this big lead image with some heading there, and then our blog posts are listed here. So this is what everyone will see when they go to our website. Now we want to be able to edit this content though, so what I like to do sometimes is open a new tab and just go to wordpress.com, and what it brings us is kind of a news feed of sorts. But what we really want to do is called your reader. What we want to do is go back to our sites, go to my sites, and from there we can switch. If you had multiple sites, you can see I have many sites here, but I'm going to click back onto my austinfunkymusic.wordpress.com site. Here is our dashboard. Okay, so when you log into WordPress and click on my sites and switch to your site, and so what you're going to see is the traffic to your site. You're going to see any posts and pages and some analytics and then some insights as to what your most popular posts were. So this is known as your dashboard. It's called the back end. Okay, so here in one tab I've got my front end, which is what every viewer will see, and then in another tab I've got my back end, which is where I'm going to actually be able to edit and make posts. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and make a new post. So I'm going to click on Posts. And they have created two posts for us. We've got my first blog post and introduce yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and edit those. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce myself here. Now, instead of calling this introduce yourself example post, I'm going to give it a better title. Hi everyone. And this is where I can begin changing some of the content that they've already created for me. I don't really want any of this stuff. It gives you some tips on, why are you blogging, what topics you think you'll write about. I think this is a really great draft for where we're going with our first post here, is you do want to introduce people to your topic and who you are and why you want to post. Okay, so that's going to be your first post. Now, this visual editor is pretty easy to use. If you want to edit text, you can just go ahead and highlight the text and change it. So I could start writing some information about myself, and you can change the alignments and mess with the paragraphs. If you press this down arrow, you get even more options in terms of alignment, underlines, upper lowercase. And so you'll notice that each of these text boxes are basically blocks, okay, building blocks. And anything you change here, go ahead and press update, will change on my main site when I press refresh. Okay. So now you can see that that post says, hi everyone, great. And it is the same as what I would edit here in my editor. Now, these blocks, you can add different pieces in between them. And when I press this More Options button, it's going to allow me to insert a block after or before this particular block. So if I go ahead and press Insert After, it's going to let me build a new block where I can add a heading, I can add an image, or I can add a gallery. And let me just go ahead and add an image here. So let me press upload. I can choose from my downloads, students at the University Star. There we go. So once I've added that image, I can add a caption, which you're going to want to describe who took the image, where the image is from. You can do that right there in the caption. You can also change alignments of the image. Right now there's really no alignment. You can make it a full width. That way it maxes out the width of that paragraph. You can just make it centered. You can kind of choose what you want to do with that. And now if you don't want to add an image, you can also add another type of block. If I'm going to go ahead and press Add After, Insert After, if you press over here on the left, we can add all different types of blocks here. not just text and images, but you can also add files, audio files, quotes. They have classified a lot of these blocks into categories. So common blocks, you got galleries, you can have a masonry type of image gallery. Some common blocks that you'll use here are listed in this category. Formatting, if you wanted to add custom code, if you had something that you wanted to add into your site. You've got tables, you've got page breaks, columns if you wanted to add 2 different columns, media and text. That's kind of a nice visual. Let's add another University Star SJMC Award Ceremony photo. You can add this and say advertising. You want to add some content there. It makes it pretty visual. So now over here on the right, you've got in your document tab, you can also categorize this if you had different posts based on if you were doing concerts and reviews. Maybe some of your posts will be categorized as concerts, some will be categorized as album reviews. You could add tags, which are basically keywords that will help your website be more searchable through Google and through other blogs trying to find you. Featured images are good for when you're sharing to social media. That's the image that usually is found and pops up. And then it's also used in thumbnail images for your main homepage. When people go to your website and they kind of look here, sometimes the featured image pops up here. Then you've got some block content. If you chose a certain block, you can add some extra if you wanted to get crazy with CSS and some coding, which we will do later in the semester. You can do that as well. When you're done, just go ahead and press update, and you go to your website and refresh. You'll see that whatever you did on that page will be updated on that particular post. Okay, so your first post will be an introduction to your blog, and then when we go back to our dashboard, we can see that other one, my first blog post. This is where you're actually going to write your first blog post and cover your topic. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete that one just because I don't really want to mess with that one that they had. I want to build one from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and press add new post. And it looks very similar to what we were just in. And I'm going to give it a title, my first blog post. Okay. Then this is where we're actually going to type in some content. Yesterday I saw a great band play at Emo's in Austin, and then you would basically start describing your concert. If it was a funk band or whatever you're trying to watch, you can add text. Like I said earlier, you can insert images. You can either upload them directly, or if you had some in your library that you had previously uploaded, you can always insert that, and then from there add captions, again, alignments, wide widths. You can see how easy it is to create these posts and then go ahead and publish them. As soon as they're published, it's going to ask, do you want this to be public to everyone? You could even password protect your posts, which I don't recommend because you want us to read these. You can publish it, you can schedule it if you want it to be posted at a certain time. You can also connect an account like Facebook or Twitter to it, and that way it automatically feeds it out to your social networks. I'm going to go ahead and press publish. Once it's published, I can go back to my website, refresh it, and from there you'll see my first blog post, which I did later, is actually listed first because this is in reverse chronological order. Older posts will be listed lower, newer posts will be higher. So anyway, that's how you make posts within WordPress. In another tutorial, I'm going to show you how to change your theme and do some other customization within WordPress.